Hello, today we are going to be making a screen folding card. The Coromandel screens from Japan and China that were used for privacy or decoration. That's going to be the pattern for our card today. It is double-sided and it fits very neatly in a standard size envelope. So the supplies that we'll need to get started today are your standard ruler. You'll want scissors, pencil, and we are going to do some scoring today. So you'll want, if you have your scoring tool or a paper cutter, that's a nice easy way to do it. If not, you can use a pencil and your ruler to do that, and the back of your scissors for the scoring portion. It would be helpful to have an X-acto knife, and for the adhesives, you can use anything you'd like. If you prefer the tape runners or a liquid glue, that's fine, or the bead tape or double-sided tape. Any of those will do for what we're doing today. And for the legs on the card, you can either cut those with a ruler and a pencil, or you can use a paper punch. If you have a decorative paper punch that you would like to have a design in the sides of the legs, you're welcome to use that as well. But if not, there's another way to do it. So the papers that you'll need will be 8.5 by 11. And you'll want a solid cardstock for your base, and then some printed materials, papers for the panels. So once you have your 8.5 by 11 paper, you're going to trim that. Now I will be using some templates today, so that will help you determine where to score and where to cut. So once you have your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, you're going to actually just trim one end of it at about 3 inches or so. So just this end, it's going to be 5.5 by 11. Once you've got that cut, then we're going to be doing the scoring. So I'll just slide this stuff over a bit. And there are, put this here so it's easier to see, 3 different score lines that you're going to be making, and that's going to be 2 3/4, 5.5, and 8 1/4. So I like to start, if I'm using my paper cutter, I like to start from the further end and go in. So that's 8 1/4. And you're just going to use your scoring tool and or the back of your scissors to make that line in the gutter, and just run that down. 5.5. Do that. And then 2 3/4. So actually each panel is going to be 2 3/4 inches wide. So you should have 4 even panels as you're scoring. So make sure that those match. And you do want to be fairly precise with this project with your measurements, because it will make a big difference when the item is folded and when you're cutting for your legs. So once you have this done, the next step is to cut those legs. And there's an easy way to do this. If you want to use a punch, you would just, the panel is a nice, you can get a nice even width right there. So it's about 1/2 inch from the top. So if you are good at eyeballing it, you can just put your paper right in here, find your marking so that it's nice and centered, and about 1/2 inch up. If you prefer to draw a line, you can do that. Otherwise, just go ahead and punch it, and then you can line it up with the other portions of the fold so that they're all even. If you're not using a decorative punch, then you can simply use a ruler and a pencil. It's a 1/2 inch from each of the markings that you scored and from the end, and then it's 1 3/4 inch across, 1/2 inch up. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1 3/4. And once you've got that marked on your paper, once you've got that measurement, you would just use your X-acto knife and a ruler and then just cut your shape. Now there's an easy way to make the rest of the cuts. You would fold your paper, and then this way you have an automatic template. Just use your pencil, mark your lines, and then go ahead and use your X-acto knife and your ruler to make that cut. So then once you have 2, you can fold that in half, and then you've got your 2 templates for the next half. So go ahead and cut those, and I have one of those prepared. So this is what it should look like when it's done. You've got 4 even cuts along the bottom, and when you are done, go ahead and fold your paper, and you can crease it or use your scoring tool to make that nice and a nice crease. It will stand up like this. It should be nice and even because everything is measured correctly, and then you're ready to put the paper on your panels. So to do that, each panel from your printed paper, and we've got that here, is going to be 4 inches long by 2.5 inches wide. So when you're looking at your paper, if there is a picture that you're trying to follow or a pattern, make sure that you're cutting them in order and keeping them lined up so that when you put them on your panels, they'll be even and in order so you can get that full picture. I've cut my papers, so I have those, and you're going to need 4 of them, 1 for each panel. And then you can see how the flowers line up once you've cut them so that you know that it's in order. So this is how it will look. When you're attaching it, you want to make sure that you're putting it nice and centered in your space so it gives it the same amount of a border all the way around. And we can do that now. And I'm going to use my tape runner today. Those aside, and you can measure it if you want. Something stuck to that. If you would like to measure so that you're getting the right line, you can do that. Just be sure to erase your lines. If not, then just try and make it as even as possible. And if it's not, you will notice once your panels are placed, you'll be able to see very quickly if they're not lined up. So just take your time with this. Do the best you can, and it will be absolutely gorgeous. And then we're going to do the same thing with the back side with the other printed paper. Don't be afraid to play with your patterns, and it can really be for any occasion. It's a really versatile card. I like this paper. It's very elegant. I especially like it when they tell a story. All right, so that side is done. This paper might want to be moved over a bit. You can see right away that there's a gap. So if you can, very carefully make that correction. looks a little bit better. There we go. So we'll do the same thing for the second side. Just about done. And then find a nice piece of ribbon or something that you may want to attach to close the card when you're done. I'm using a simple black ribbon to match the base of my paper. Okay, so there we are, and you can fold it again depending on which side you want open so that the person that's receiving the card is going to see first. I would like them to see this side, and then it'll open like that. And then I'm just going to attach my ribbon. I might just put it in a nice little knot. Trim the edges, and you're all set. I hope that you've enjoyed making this card today. And while you're waiting for the next video, we have a database called Creative Bug on our library website, and that is free and that is available to anyone with an account. So please visit our website, tacomalibrary.org. And I do have a few other samples for you today. This is the one that I showed you in the beginning. Here, like that. So you can kind of see the story that goes along here. And we have another that I made. Now this one I used two different papers for this as well. And I also did a decorative edge. So you can see the difference between the two. If you've got the straight leg or something that has a little bit of a design to it. So here's another. And this one was just for fun. I thought I would use this Once Upon a Time. And then the other side is Happily Ever After. So it really can be anything you'd like in terms of theme. I used that decorative edge again on this card, and I also punched the top. You can see that there's a decorative punch along the edge, kind of a little lace pattern. If you want to do something like this, you're more than welcome to do that, but just know that your paper, the length of your paper is going to be just a little bit shorter, probably about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch shorter. So keep that in mind when you're cutting your pieces and have a lot of fun. They're incredibly versatile, beautiful cards, and I hope that you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Thank you.